Good morning. Welcome to another incredible, another delightful, another wonderful episode of Good Morning Abuja on your favorite station, the Unity Station, NTA Channel 5. And as you know, we always like to start you off on the right foot. Did you wake up on the right side of the bed today? I hope you did. But even if you did not, I am sure that by the time we finish this episode of Good Morning, you will be in the best of moods. And as you know, we like to start off with some motivational talk. But before I delve into that, as always, you know that my name is Maimuna Ummi Ibrahim, and I will be here with you throughout the entire program. Poverty is something that we always talk about in our country, Nigeria. How do we fight it? How do we help the average Nigerian to come out of poverty? Well, every year, thousands of Nigerians start a business in order to help themselves, help their families, have something that they work towards every day just to provide and make a life for themselves. And today on the program, we're going to be talking about how can we fight poverty in our own way. And I have somebody here in the studio with me. His name is Moshood Lawal, and he is an expert. When I say an expert, I mean somebody that works with businesses. He's from SMEDA. SMEDA is known as Small and Medium Enterprise Development Agency of Nigeria. And he is a social development expert in the areas of poverty, sustainable livelihood, rural enterprise development, and so much more. And of course, in SMEDA, we know that you work in the partnership and coordination department. You're welcome to the program.
Thank you very much.
I mean, I can go on and on about introducing all that you do and all that you have an expertise in, but let's start by talking about SMEDA first of all. Tell us what the agency represents.
Well, the Small and Medium Enterprise Development Agency of Nigeria was created sometime in 2005 by an act of the National Assembly, basically to help in the formulation of policies for developing the MSME sector, support of MSME development, both in the articulation of the plans they need to do and a sustainable environment for them to thrive. So SMEDA over the years has been trying to forge ahead with respect to helping Nigerians understand that business is business only when you learn it as a business.
Because you can't just go
into either two. We used to have people just start a business and without knowing the intricacies of the business, and after some time they just say, I failed because the environment wasn't good.
Okay, so let's talk about how business and poverty go hand in hand, because poverty is something that I would say affects not just us here at home but all across the globe. There are people that are living under the daily recommendation for what you should earn, and that should probably fall under the umbrella of poverty. But it's different everywhere. What are some strategies that you think that we can adapt to fight poverty here in Nigeria?
Well, just like you said, poverty is usually relative to what you perceive as being poor means. And for some of us in the social development world, for the Eurocentric part of the world, poverty is the amount of income, the amount of money you have in your pocket. That's why they usually measure it by less than $2 per day and the rest of it. For the growing economies, it's about access to credit facilities, access to infrastructure, access to good health, access to education. So if we measure this vis-a-vis what the European people have as their standard, it basically talks about earning power. The ability of an individual to earn enough income to be able to pay for his health, for his education, to be able to enjoy all the social amenities that he needs to enjoy as a citizen of the Federal Republic of Nigeria, is what makes him say, okay, I'm out of poverty. So it's usually related. When you have somebody who says, okay, I have $2 daily, yet I'm still poor. Maybe because he doesn't have those things he thinks he needs to make him happy within the environment he finds himself.
Okay, so tell me now, who do you think falls under the umbrella of poverty, especially here in the FCT?
Well, for the FCT right now, it's phenomenal that most people that live in Abuja classify as the people that are rich, they're the ones that are enjoying. But you actually agree with me that within the FCT, we actually have a predominantly large number of people that are poor. You will measure this by going to the slums areas that you have in Abuja,
Yeah.
where they live, they don't have sewage system, they don't even care about their health, the health facility, no pipe-borne water, which is
Yeah.
still available in the
Yeah.
FCT.
Yeah.
We have them till now. Some of the school facilities are nothing to write home about. So basically, what we normally have is we have citizens who feel helpless. But if you actually empower them with respect to earning additional income through small and medium enterprises, they will be able to make choices on the kind of life they want to live.
Yeah.
So if you actually have earning power and you see that this school is actually not good enough for my child, you'll be able to transfer that child to a school that I think is
better.
relatively better. If you actually have enough earning power, you'll be able to look at maternity care as not optional,
It's true. That's true.
but as a right. But if you don't have it, you just say, okay, just stay at home and try and see
Yeah.
what so it's not as if the human being doesn't want something good, but it does not have the
The
earning
options,
capacity
yeah.
to
Yeah.
make alternative options.
Yeah,
And that's why we
exactly.
believe that somebody with a small business, you're actually empowering that person.
Yeah.
Whether in terms of education, you'll be able to send his children to school. In terms of health, you'll be able to send his wife
Yeah.
for maternity care and the rest of the thing. In terms of basic amenities of life, you'll be able to have alternative source of energy. You'll be able to have a means of transport. You'll also be able to enjoy the basic good things of life, such as recreation and vacation.
Yeah. Okay.
So those are the things we look at.
Okay, so talking about business now, I don't know if you'd agree with me that there's a small percentage of people, persons living with disabilities,
Yes.
that are probably into businesses. What kind of options are out there for these people? Like, if you're living with a disability, it's already hard enough, getting from point A to point B. But we have to be more inclusive with persons with disability, and even in business as well. How can we do better? How can we include them better?
You see, for people with disabilities, it's usually a thing of the mind. We just concluded a program in Kaduna recently for grants for growth and support for businessmen. And the people that we invited, one of the group was the people with hearing impaired. They actually participated better than the people that thought they had it all.
Yeah.
Because they were desperate to show us that, look, if you give us any form of empowerment, we can do
it.
better than
Yeah.
these people. They brought in a larger number of females than the
Wow.
male. And they paid for their interpreter.
Wow.
Because during the training, the interpreter just stood outside. But what we had is this issue of, I am helpless, please help me. So if somebody has that kind of mindset, he has this beggarly instinct that, okay,
Yeah.
if I actually beg,
I'll
but
get
somebody
one.
with a pride, which is one of the things we talked about, entrepreneurship, ability to be self-independent, ability to be determined, to take risk. Now, if they have those kind of infused training
Yeah.
and capacity building done for them, over the time they will believe more in themselves than what the society will give to them as arms. But you find that everywhere you go, they just feel that, okay, because I'm disabled.
Yeah.
Now, we now have a coordinated strategy from the people living with disability, demanding to be included in all the structure of the economy.
Yes.
And it's actually working. You now actually have them having forums, having platforms to be able to talk. It is for those platforms now to look at the several avenues government has
And try
provided
and stick
and
them
try and see how they can
Yeah.
take their own percent of it. Just like we had the gender affirmative action,
Yes.
we can actually have their own, and they demand for a right to be placed within any of the structures.
Yeah.
Smina presently is doing a lot. We have the people that are handicapped in the sense that they decide that, okay, because we are living with this disability, we actually want to be recognized. We had some in Katsina, we had some in Kaduna, and recently some women too came up with their own platform. And Spain is actually recognizing them. A certain percentage is given to them on the condition that whatever they get should be channeled into a small business.
Yeah.
What we've discovered over the time is not just starting the business, access to market. Because sometimes they will produce and nobody will want to buy.
Yes.
So we're actually working on an avenue to be able to take off the goods from them first before so that you support them in continuously
Yeah.
producing.
And
it's
you
working.
encourage them
It's
because
actually
if
working.
they see their products moving, they'll be
Yes,
like, yes,
and they serve as role models to others
yeah.
that if this person can do it,
I can do it.
I can
too.
also do
Yeah,
it.
that's
what
true.
yeah.
Okay, so for our country to reduce its level of poverty and maintain sustainable development growth, what's your advice to help us generally in nation building?
Coincidentally, poverty is number one on the 17 goals of the SDG,
Yeah.
and that's to tell you how the world takes it.
Yeah.
Hitherto, we usually have people throw cash at poverty. So you now have better life for better women, now pay, they just say, okay, come and take 10,000, come and take 50. That's not sustainable.
Yeah.
it goes back to the saying that don't give somebody fish.
Yeah,
Teach
teach
him how
them
to
how to
fish.
fish. Yes.
So if you give somebody 50,000, he's actually going to use it for consumption purposes alone,
Mm.
and he will come back to you.
Yeah.
But if you actually help the person align his thoughts and ideas towards establishing an enterprise,
Yeah.
which is what should be done, it should be our priority now. Once somebody is able to establish an enterprise, it generates income,
Mm.
it creates wealth, it employs others,
Yeah.
it reduces rural urban migration,
Yeah.
it utilizes raw materials from the local resources that he has. So just like China has done, Malaysia and other countries, Nigeria should focus on MSME development
Yeah.
as an avenue to eradicate poverty. It's usually not completely eradicated, but when we are elevating it by supporting small businesses to grow, each small business can employ 5 persons.
Mm.
If you multiply it, you are likely going to have a larger number of people going into getting out of poverty and the host of other things. Well, if you keep giving each person 50,000, 100,000,
They'll come back.
they'll still come back to
Yeah,
grow.
it's true because money finishes just like that.
That's just the thing.
Okay, so before you go, I'd like you to tell me if I'm interested in starting a business, a small and medium business, what are some of the steps I need to take? You know, because as you mentioned, if you start a business, you empower other people under you, and they would eventually empower other people as well. So, what are some of the steps that I need to take?
Well, for us, the first step you need to take is just nurture an idea.
Okay.
There's an idea. There's a large gap out there that Nigerians are yearning to actually want it to be filled.
Mm.
If you have an idea where there's going to be production, services, and nurture the idea first,
Okay.
then personalize it. Let it be your own mission and vision.
Mm.
You want to actually achieve that. That's what's going to push you. We don't just want you to say, okay, I want to do it, come and help me.
Mm.
You're actually the one that will now be driving, this is what I need.
Yeah.
These are the human resource I need. These are the government agencies I need to talk to. These are the partners I need to work with in order to be able to set up the business. Once that is done, then you need to actually write what we call a bankable business plan.
Okay.
Not just for funding, but is a measuring tool for yourself to be able to know whether you're doing what you want to do,
Yeah.
or you're actually derailing from the plans that you have earlier. Once these things are put in place, it's easier for you to get partners that want to buy into your vision.
Yeah.
It's easier to get funders that want to say, okay, we want to take a percentage
Yeah.
of your profit in the next year. Then it's easier for you to know the kind of people you will employ to
Mm.
drive the
That's
vision
true.
that you have.
That's true.
But if you don't have all these, and nobody, please employ me, you take this person,
Yeah.
and 3 years you just say Nigeria is not
Yeah.
a good environment to do business.
Yeah,
The
that's
Chinese
true.
are coming, Lebanese are coming, and they are making it.
Yeah, that's
So
true.
those are the things we just needed to then possibly talk to Smida.
Okay, yeah,
They
you
have
see that.
so many things. They have so many things to offer,
Yeah.
including funding now. Usually they don't usually give funding, but now they give funding, they give equipment and capacity building.
Well, that's fantastic, and that's a wonderful note to end on. Thank you so
Thank
much,
you
Mr.
so much for having
Lashidla,
me.
for coming on the program
I'm happy
and
to
for
be here.
sharing such interesting conversations with me, and of course telling us all about what we need to do to help our nation and to reduce the amount of people that are living in poverty in Nigeria.
Thank you.
Well, we've been talking about how we can do better to fight poverty in Nigeria to make our nation better. And of course, know that some people are just made for business. They're born to be business owners. So if you have a really good idea, write it down. Make sure you have everything that you have. You have your ideas down on paper. You have the uniqueness that you bring to your business written down. And as Mr. Moshut said, make sure that you have a bankable business plan. And from there, you can reach out to Smida to help you as well to build on your business ideas. We're going to take a short break and our conversation will continue right after this. Welcome back from that break, and now we are going to start off another conversation talking about something that is very, very important. And it is a medical condition known as spinal bifida. And October 25th every year is a day set aside to raise awareness for this medical condition. And today on the program we have two special guests that are going to be talking about it with me, of course. I have a survivor as well as a pediatric nurse. And let me introduce them to you as I have Comrade Olubumi Lawal, and she is a board member of Global Initiative of Children's Surgery, GICS. She is chairman Nursing and Midwifery Working Group for G4 Alliance, and as I said, a pediatric nurse. And on this side, I have with me Olufemi Michael Solako, and he's a gospel and inspirational artist, a singer and a songwriter, and he is a survivor of spina bifida. You're welcome to the program.
Thank you very much.
It is a pleasure to have you here with us today, and of course to talk about something that is very, very important, which when I did my research, it said it affects about 100,000 people every year in Nigeria. And I know that there's still people that are unaware of what this medical condition is. So let me start with you. Tell me what it is, and because we need the details for our viewers to understand what we're discussing here today.
Thank you very much, and I'm so excited to be honored in your office today. As yesterday we commemorated World Spinal Bifida Day, a day that the world has set aside to create awareness around spinal bifida and also seek for support for individuals, either newborn or adults living with spinal bifida. Again, what is spinal bifida? So when you hear the word spinal, so that has to do with our spinal cord. And of course bifida, which means that there is an opening.
Yeah.
There is a gap. So which means that in the period of what we call organogenesis, where the organ in the body are being formed in the fetus, that will notice that around that 28 days of life of pregnancy, when women don't even know they are pregnant, where the organs are being formed, the spinal cord of those patients did not form properly. So there is no closure. We are supposed to have a zip, but at that particular space, the formation did not happen completely, and that is why you see the protrusion of the meninges, the covering of the spinal cord, and sometimes you will even see the cord coming out itself. And like I said, because it happened at 28 days of conception, when many women are still contemplating, is it stress? Am I going to see the messes? It has already happened.
Wow.
And that is why you see when it happens like that, mothers are so confused.
Yeah.
They don't know what to do. And this is a lifelong defect. It's a lifelong challenges where after giving birth to some of those children, some parents are so frustrated, they intentionally kill this baby. They throw this baby away. They think they are spiritual being. Some of them put them at the water bank so that the water can take them and go back to their ancestors. Some men rejected them because there's a lot of challenges that comes with having babies like that.
Yeah.
One of them is the fact that, especially if it's myelomeningocele, you will see that as the child grows up, the child faces challenges of inability to walk. The child faces with challenges of inability to control urine and feces.
Wow.
That is a major problem. Now, when the child is born, the care is absolutely on the parents, under 5. But the major problem we are having now are those children we have taken care of 10, 12, 14 years ago. They are now adolescents.
Yeah.
The girls are now started having messes.
Yeah.
So those mothers are now so pressurized, not because they don't know what to do. They are going to cope with taking care of these children because they cannot control their urine and feces. At the same time with the monthly blood cycle.
Yeah.
And that is a major problem for us.
Yeah.
So what should we do?
Yeah.
Right now you will tell me, oh, let's talk about prevention.
Yes.
Prevention is good. What causes it? More than 50% of it is unknown.
Yeah.
However, studies have been done and link it to micronutrients of folic acid.
Yeah.
So the micronutrient of folate, the folate in the system, we call it folate. But if it's the one that we take orally, it's folic acid.
Yeah.
So which means that if every woman of childbearing age
Can take
folic acid before conception, that is the catch there.
Yeah.
It just have to be before conception because most of our pregnancy are not planned. You don't know when you are pregnant.
That's the truth. But Olubumi, you touched on a very important thing there, because as women, we get married. There's so many things. Like when you tell women, go and see your gynecologist so that they will put you through what you need to, how you need to take care of yourself. We just say, oh, God takes care of the children. When it comes, it's a blessing. But there's steps that you need to take care of your body so that when you do get pregnant, you're ready for whatever comes. Because like you mentioned now, a lot of women, I can remember clearly, there was a gynecologist that told me that a lot of people don't even come for antenatal till their babies are 6 months. And he was like, come earlier. Come before your baby is even 3 months. As soon as you find out, come, because there's so many things that we can push you to do better. And as you've already mentioned, 28 days is a really early time. So taking your folic acid even before you conceive is very, very important. I have to agree with that. So tell us, because you're talking about there's so many challenges that you face. And I need to understand what we need to do better, because there's so many medical cases out there that people are living with, but then there's no health insurance, better health care. How can we and even the government do better helping people that are living with this condition?
Thank you very much, man. That is a very brilliant question. What I can say about that is taking care of our populace is our sole responsibility. The government owns its people, and they have to take that responsibility. Starting from policy. What is our policy saying about children with disability?
Yeah.
What is our policy saying about newborn health care? What is our policy saying about health insurance? Right now in this country, our health insurance just cover 5% of the populace. And this group of populace I'm talking about, oftentimes they are those who work with the government. What happened to women who work in informal sectors?
Yeah.
What happened to them? So I think policy around NHIS should be reviewed to have care and services for children born with congenital anomaly like spinal bifida. That is very key. Policy around child health, policy around adolescent health, policy around nutrition. We have fantastic policy, but oftentimes they do not take cognizance of children born with congenital anomaly.
Yeah.
The worst case scenario is the fact that our fortification is also at that level that we can't really say if it has folic acid or not. So we need the mandatory fortification program for the country to have the premix of folic acid in it, so that every woman, you know that once I take vegetable oil or once I take rice as our staple, is already embedded in folic acid. That is key. And the healthcare professional, we have role to play. We don't even have data, and that is the truth. We do not have quality data. So time has come. Like a couple of years ago, we also promote what we call birth defect surveillance. And I want to say thank you to GAIN, because GAIN supported the pilot. But after that, nothing. So the government, the Federal Ministry of Health, need to help us to set aside birth defect surveillance, because we are looking at universal health coverage without leaving anyone behind, including those with spinal bifida, including those one with cerebral palsy, including those babies with cleft lips and palates. So we need the healthcare professional, the professional association, the civil society. We need to work together to ensure that we pull quality data, because that is where the interest lies. Because they will say, oh, they are not many, they are not significant. But once it affects the family, data, it becomes 100%, and we need data to back that up.
Okay, so now, Olufemi, I have to bring you in, because you are one of the success stories that we have out there, right? So please, I need you to just give me a brief background information on your life and, how far you've come and some of the challenges that you went through to get to where you are today.
Okay, so thank you very much once again for having me. It's really an honor and a privilege. So, Femi Salako. There's a lot to say, so I'll just try to summarize. I grew up pretty abnormal, so to speak. I was the kid that didn't walk straight. I had bad legs, I had a cyst behind my back. That even when I wear clothes, if I didn't tuck in properly, the cyst showed. So I grew up with a lot of self-esteem issues. I dealt with low self-esteem. I was bullied. It wasn't fun. It wasn't fun. But I thank God I had very loving parents. I had a loving family who understood, not fully, of course, because there's certain things that only
Only
me,
you,
who
yeah.
has the condition, could really understand and interpret. But I had people who supported me, through it. So I mean, yeah, I wouldn't say it's been easy, but I have this philosophy. I have always thought, when you have a challenge, you have two choices. Do you allow the challenge overwhelm you, or do you tell yourself, I want to get above this challenge? And I told myself I will not be one of those who is weighed down by the challenge, because I did my own studies too. I found out that a whole lot of people who live with the same disease, and some of them, if you're not told, you wouldn't know they do. So I said, okay, I could be this person, I could even be better. How can I make my life better? One of the few things I was told when I was a kid was, one of the aftermaths, I guess, of spinal bifida is that you would actually have intellectual deformity. So you would not even be able to process information like a normal child. I was told I had every possibility of being an imbecile. Yes, but I mean, I finished secondary school, one of the best graduating students. I mean, it was a mental thing. It's apart from the physical challenges, there's a lot of mental work that needs to be done, because there's so many things happening around you, things you probably will not ever be able to change. So what do you do to get past these things? How do you live your life in the midst of these, should I say, how do I call it now? Um, I'm trying to find the words. There's just a lot, but how do you live beyond these limitations? I had to tell myself that there's a way, and with God being my help, having a lot of good friends, good relationships, I picked myself up.
So is it okay if I ask you how many surgeries you had to get to this point?
Let me see. I know I had 2 surgeries before I was 3 months, I believe. And from what I was told, they were quite life-threatening surgeries. I had another one, and that one is even evidence. There's a line at the back of my head. It's called a shunt, what I was told. One of the things is fluid goes into your head. I really don't know the full, but there's a lot of fluid that goes into your head by reason of the whole thing. So the shunt is meant to help to channel the fluid, yes, out of. And it's, from what I was told, it's supposed to be changed every 3 years. But I think I'm one of those children as at then who lived by miracle, because I only changed it once. And I've never had to change it ever since. So that's 3. I think I had another one where the cyst was removed in 2011. I think, yes. I was opportune to travel to India for one other thing, something else, and one of the doctors discovered it, and they were like, "Hey, how?" First of all, they asked how old I was. I said I'm so age, and they were like, "Okay, you've been living with this for so long." Because I was told again because I was pretty little, so I won't be able to keep all the information that. But I was told that this cyst was not meant to be touched. Yes, like it was not. Nothing was meant to be done on it. Like if it was cut off or anything was done to it, I might not be able to move at all.
But then in India, they took it out.
Yes, they took it out, and somehow, by some miracle, by God's grace, I'm walking.
Well, Olufemi, it can only be God, and as a gospel artist, singer songwriter, and I want you to come back on our program, and talk about your music, because obviously today we're talking about this. But before you get to come back,
yes,
if you'd please share a music video of yours, one of your music videos and what it represents to you, so that we can share some of it with our viewers watching today.
Absolutely.
So tell us a bit about the song and what it represents.
Okay, so my latest release, it's called Focus on You.
Okay.
So the song, how did the song come? I think it came by, I was just meditating. There are a lot of things going on in our country right now, and yes, I'm a full-fledged Christian.
Yeah.
So based on that, I was just thinking, what, like I said, in the midst of the conversation, I'm a huge enthusiast for mental health. So I was like, how do we cope with everything that's going on mentally?
Yeah.
And then we took it into the spiritual, into the Christian world. And then I was like, okay, if we just learn to keep our focus on our eyes on God, God has a way of just doing things his own way.
Yeah.
If we fix our eyes on him, we don't pay attention to all the madness that's going around.
Yeah.
We just trust in him, trust in his ability to take care of us, trust in his ability to strengthen us through it all. And that's how the song came.
Okay, so Focus on You, that's what we're going to take on.
Absolutely.
Okay, so we're going to enjoy a bit of Olufemi's music, and I'm sure you'll enjoy it. So here's a look at his music, Focus on You.
I choose to focus on you. Yes, Lord, I will not worry. You will protect. You are my protector. Your love is my cover. Your love is my cover. You are my joy.
I mean, look at you now, and you're in a situation where you praise him, to
Yes,
thank him,
absolutely.
and I have to tell you that you have to come back to our program to talk about your music and tell us
Okay.
all about it some other day.
That would be amazing.
You have to come back. But then, okay, so Olubumi, please tell me now, how many success stories have we had? Because you said we don't have a lot of data surrounding it, and how we need to raise even more awareness. Forget about having one day every year to talk about it. We need more awareness. We need to spread it all on TVs, on radios, to talk about why it is important that we know about this, so we can do better with those living with it, and of course to prevent even more children from having this condition.
Thank you very much. So, if you ask me how many success stories have made to tears, because it will also remind me of some other cases that I have to lose some babies, that it's not supposed to be like that. Yes, it can be very worrisome, especially at birth. So at birth, that side will be fresh, will be open. The defect side will be open. The covering of the spinal cord, the meninges, and part of the cord will be protruding out. So it also takes a very skillful healthcare professionals, of course, the pediatric nurses, and the neurosurgeon who actually going to do the surgery on those baby are very vital. But oftentimes you see some babies are born even in primary health care. I've seen a baby who has a spinal bifida but was born in primary health care center. What they did was to put this baby inside nylon bag to protect that place. So we have a lot of issues with skill and knowledge on how to take care of this baby. Now, it's not supposed to be a life-threatening. However, if that site gets infected, then from the spinal cord it gets to the brain. Then we'll be talking about meningitis and a lot of challenges managing meningitis. So that is that. However, our team of our neurosurgery team, our neurologist, our team of nurses, fantastic nurses, our midwife, are also very fantastic in terms of taking care of those people. Not everybody are skillful in it, we must say. But however, the parents also play a key role. Now we have a situation whereby some of the men will tell you, I've never seen this problem before. Now we'll ask them to come and pay for admission, for drugs, for CT scan, for MRI, come and pay for this, come and donate for blood, go and come back. All these challenges make some of the men to run away. The challenges of taking care of them. I have a baby that we actually sponsor, my organization. sponsor this child to have surgery. In fact, we mobilized them to come from Edo State. At the end of the day, what happened? The the grandmother who was taking care of the baby eventually died, and the man, the baby was taken back to the man in Abuja, and the stepmom cannot cope. So they will not feed this baby because they don't want the baby to pass poo poo, because the baby cannot control urine and feces. So they will starve this baby. They will beat each time this baby pass food on herself, not knowing that it's because of the condition. They will beat this baby. At the end of the day, they actually, permit me probably to say that it's one of the maltreatment that's led to the death of the child. It hurt me a lot. And that is why I'm really calling on the government. The Federal Ministry of Health can do a lot. The Federal Ministry of Human Affairs. This is a women thing. Yeah. Anything that is bad, any child that is bad is for the women. We all know. Yeah. We are Africans. Yeah. So please come to our aid to support. Now we have Ministry of Humanitarian. Yeah. This is practically humanitarian intervention. Yeah. So we just want to appeal to the government, to partners. We have partners like UNICEF who deal with issue of children. But we don't have issue around bad defect in it. Save the Children are there, WHOs are there. Please, they should please come and support women who have children with spinal bifida. Most especially to have campaign and awareness to the grassroots, to the people that need it more. And the healthcare professional, no discrimination, no stigmatization, no insult, no using unfriendly words. It's not their fault. They are born the way they are born. Thank you.
Thank you so much for sharing all of that with us. And as Olufemi mentioned earlier, something that is also important is the mental aspect. Yeah. So we need to work hand in hand with helping them, health-wise, but of course mentally as well, so that they can get through whatever challenges comes as a family. Thank you so much. From the bottom of our hearts, we thank you for coming on the program, for sharing your story, and of course for sharing your passion for all that you do. And can I just say, pediatrics, you are all angels. Thank you so much for the job that you do. Thank you. Well, this has been a very emotional conversation, and I hope that you have listened to everything we've said. We need to do better, each and every one of us. Please share awareness. If you know anybody that doesn't know about this medical condition as well, please and please share it with your family, with your friends, with your neighbors, everybody that you know. And of course, to the women out there, I urge you, I beg you, that when you are of age, you're married, you're not married, please, we need to take better care of our bodies. Make sure you reach out to your gynecologist, your doctors, talk to them, and make folic acid a part of your daily routine. Please, it is very, very important. We can all do better. The end of today's program. I hope that you had a wonderful time, and I hope that I put you in the right mood to start your day off the right way. I hope that you've learned so much from what we discussed on today's program, and that we will take better care of ourselves. And of course, if you're into business, then this is the right time for you to put your business plan down and start working towards it to achieve it. As always, I am Memuna Ibrahim. I hope that you've enjoyed Good Morning Abuja, and you will tune in to another wonderful edition on tomorrow's episode. Have yourselves a wonderful day. Goodbye.